Hi, friends. Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day you are listening. Welcome back to Mostly Accurate. This is the show where real life, weird news, and parenting chaos collide. This week's lineup feels a little bit like a fever dream. First up, we have a scuba diving robber that robs a Disney Springs seafood restaurant. Yup. Flippers and all. Honestly, The Little Mermaid could never. Then we're diving into the new Charlie Sheen documentary because apparently 7 gram rocks, flipping cars over cliffs, and Clint Eastwood hosting your intervention weren't even the wildest parts of the story. And spoiler alert, by the end, you might actually find yourself rooting for him. And then finally, it is birthday week in my house, which means my toddler has leveled up like a tiny little track star with a runny nose. So between balloons, germs, and sprinting after him like an unpaid bodyguard, I've got lots of stories. Grab your coffee, maybe a snorkel, and let's get into it. You guys, picture this. It's just past midnight at Disney Springs. Paddlefish restaurant is closed. The staff is counting cash, the calm before whatever storm this is that's arriving right now. And then all of a sudden, like swoosh, someone in full scuba gear shows up, not a bathrobe, not a ski mask, and then robs you. This is a true story, okay? A man wearing a full scuba gear like outfit, like I'm talking wetsuit, gloves, goggles, snorkel, everything, allegedly robbed Paddlefish, which is a seafood restaurant in Disney Springs in Orlando, Florida. The robbery took place just after midnight on September 15th when the restaurant was closed and, the employees were just like counting their receipts and, doing their closing thing. If you ever worked in a restaurant, this is the chill time. This is like a very chill hour. This is probably like the best time of the night because there's no customers. You're just hanging out with your friends. Maybe you're having a drink. I don't even know. But it's a very peaceful time of night in a restaurant. And yeah, these people did not expect what happened to them next. So this guy, he comes in, he disables the camera. He forces the employees into a corner, ties them up, and says, "Close your eyes." Okay, that is scary AF. Like, I don't know about you, but if Scuba Steve just waltzes in the door and tries to rob me and like wants all my money, like obviously, I'm gonna cooperate. I don't know if he has a gun. Supposedly there was no gun, just a dude in ocean gear, but still pretty scary because you just don't know. Okay. People are crazy. You just don't know what's going on these days. So then this guy, so he ties him up, he puts him in a corner and all this stuff. And then he steals like anywhere allegedly between 5 and 20 grand in cash. Like it just goes missing. And then, do you want to know what his getaway was? This is the best part. He slips back into the water like freaking Nemo and then swims away. I don't know. What a plot. What a story. And then like after the theft, the suspect was believed to have like re-put his scuba gear on and then escaped like swimming into like a pond or a lake. So like this is the part that confuses me because when I'm reading this, it's like, did he have to put more scuba gear on or did he just have the wetsuit and he left his like getaway scuba gear like outside, like the flippers and stuff? I don't really know. I mean, I think it'd be pretty tough to rob somebody like when you're wearing flippers because then you got to kind of like walk, you know what I mean? Like goofy or whatever. But very, very interesting. The escape route is not like fully confirmed yet, but the report just speculates that's what he did. So, for a couple minutes, he had like full control there. Then he just disappears into a pond. I don't know. I don't know. I just keep thinking, like, who does that? Like, why scuba gear? And just the logistics alone of the whole robbery. Like, was it wet? Like, did he swim in it already to get to the restaurant? Or, like, did he just, like, have his, like, escape scuba gear ready, like, after the robbery and it was just, like, a dry scuba suit? Like, did he carry everything up there? Like, I feel like you would have seen somebody, like, carrying all their scuba gear. But then again, I don't know. It is, like, Orlando. Like, is it weird to just see a guy in a scuba suit? walking with all his gear on the road? Like, I don't know. I guess it could be, maybe not. I don't know. Disney, so like maybe they thought he was like a part of, I don't know, some kind of attraction or something. And then where did he stash his gear without being seen? There's a lot. There's a lot to this story. This story is like super fun. Yeah, it's almost like some kind of like Mission Impossible like idea. Like, way to be creative, dude. You know what I mean? Like, way to be creative. And he got away with it too. At least from the story I read, they have not caught the suspect. And nobody was like physically hurt, emotionally, probably like super shaken up. Like, I can just imagine what it would have felt like to be like tied up into a corner, told to close my eyes, and I don't know, by a scary man in a scuba suit. Just crazy, crazy news. I'm surprised this is my first like Florida man story. Then again, we don't know if it was a man or a woman, but yeah, I think they made it kind of sound like it was a Florida man. So super, super fun start to current events this week. I tried to look for other stories for you guys. There was actually a lot that happened this week, but I wanted to keep it light because we're here to have a good time. And there's a lot of like real stuff happening in the news and current events. And I'm sure everyone's aware, but we're here to have a good time. So, at least none of us were robbed at Flipper Point. All right, guys, let me pour this tea or maybe tiger blood. Because the new Charlie Sheen documentary is a lot. It's a lot. If you guys have not seen this, I highly recommend watching it. It was a trip. Oh my gosh. Yeah, like that was a documentary for sure. Like the first episode, like the first few minutes opens up with him legit explaining how he was drunk on a commercial plane and flew it. Like, I'm talking like flew a plane like full of passengers. I think it was his honeymoon with his first marriage, and yeah, just got away with it. Like, I don't know. Charlie Sheen, what an enigma. But yeah, this documentary, it was a lot to watch, but it was like really I don't even know if I want to say eye-opening, but it was really informative. We'll say that. First of all, I feel like super dumb because I did not put two and two together that Emilio Estevez was Charlie Sheen's brother. Actually, the whole Sheen family. I just like, I don't know why. I did not put any of like that whole family together. So that was fun. A lot of like Wikipedia-ing like that his name was Carlos. Just there was a lot going on. So let's start from the beginning. Where else we would start with this documentary than the beginning. So Martin Sheen, Charlie's dad, he was an actor. Charlie was basically just following in his dad's footsteps. His dad had an addiction as well. He really liked drinking. And obviously, like later, we see Charlie had a lot of issues with addiction himself. But I thought it was really sweet, just like in the beginning of the documentary, how it shows how Charlie like helped his dad overcome his addiction. When they were playing like catch, like when he was saying he would go on on set with his dad a lot, and trying to get him like out, and he would catch the ball and he would play for like 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, then 15 minutes, and how Martin Sheen really just kind of like bounced back with Charlie, being there for him and reminding him, his children were important and all that. And I thought that was really touching for me. That was really touching just because I can sort of relate with alcohol addiction running in my family and like the struggles I went through with my father. So I just thought that was like super sweet because I feel like he like brought his dad back from a place that he didn't really want to be at, it seemed like. So yeah, that was really awesome. And then his friend Tony Todd, like he was a great support system for Charlie, but there was just like some crazy chaos. Like at least Tony was there, as a close friend. But then like Charlie accidentally shot Kelly Preston. Yeah, that happened. He once taped crack to his leg when he was flying with Nicolas Cage. And Nick Cage, he stirred up a ton of drama because I think he took the microphone for on an airplane, and then like they were greeted with like cops and everything. And then, like there's stories of his like crazy extreme drug use. Charlie spiraled rather quickly because he grew to fame when he was 18, and in his young childhood he was doing his like movies and everything, and he turned down Karate Kid, and he thought that like that was going to be like this huge like thing he missed out on, but turned out like he was fine aside from, you know, all the things that happened. But yeah, like Charlie just started going down a really dark path pretty early on. And I caught this. I was having a discussion about it. And for me, like I could totally tell that Charlie was like suffering like imposter syndrome. Like he felt like he did not deserve all the things that he had gotten. And I kind of feel like that was the reason he kept like almost self-sabotaging to a certain extent, which I found to be, I guess, kind of spot on, because I can totally see why he felt that way, because I feel like Charlie felt as though a lot of his fame just like came from his dad being famous, his brother and everything. And he almost in a sense felt like he didn't need to try that hard. He just like kind of, I mean, honestly, he kind of had all these opportunities like fall into his lap, and the amount of effort that he would put in there, he was kind of like just like nonchalant about it. And just people, I think, just radiated to that because he was so much of himself, even though he kind of felt like he didn't deserve it. So I feel like it kind of is almost just like it follows through in his relationships too, like even Denise Richards later on says it. It's like everything would be going good and then he would just find a way to ruin it. And I just kind of think he just kept self-sabotaging himself. But anyway, so let's backtrack a little bit. So his first intervention, right? Clint Eastwood like hosted his intervention. Like if Dirty Harry tells you to get your act together, you'd think that would just be like a wake-up call, you know? But spoiler, it was not. That's just crazy. You know what I mean? Like Clint Eastwood of all people tells you like, bro, dial it back, sit down, check yourself, and like let's move forward from this. Charlie also kind of reminisces about his past and like how he, I guess, got to where he was at. He lost his virginity to a call girl named Candy. I don't know if he said this is when like his addiction, I guess, to call girls started or not, but he just kind of continued down that route. He got linked to Heidi Fleiss. I vaguely remember this because I was really like, I was pretty young when this was happening. And I actually had to Google who Heidi Fleiss was again, just to kind of like refresh my memory in this whole case. But I do remember seeing it. And they interview Heidi in the documentary. And oh my, yeah, like life really. Right. Life really took a toll on Heidi. And the reason she got caught is because Charlie was paying for his visits with Heidi's crew with traveler's checks. So then like the government got involved in all this. And again, Charlie gets out of it with just kind of like a slap on the wrist. So the guy just seemed to be untouchable. Heidi did get charged with a lot. But yeah, Charlie just kind of got away with it. Like he helped the FBI and the authorities that needed him to say and do what he needed. And yeah, he got away with a slap on the wrist. And then we fast forward with his relationship with Denise Richards. I like Denise. I feel like I did not even recognize her with the dark hair and the Botox and all this, but she looks really good. And I only saw like a couple episodes of Denise on like The Real Housewives because that's another guilty pleasure. I do love that show. But I just really think she's cool. Like, I just thought she was just like a super chill, like, lady. She used a lot of like strong language, and I don't know, I just feel like she's just like somebody that like I would totally have a glass of wine with. Denise was kind of a badass. I mean, she had her children, she raised her children. Um and she actually ended up raising, well, not like raising them, but like she took them for a year, Charlie's twins, with his other ex wife, Brooke. Denise was also like the one who saw his aggression and his addiction with pills start, and she visibly like noted when he was going off the rails. And this is when he was working on Two and a Half Men, and she would reach out for like, allegedly she's saying she reached out for help, and people just kept like dismissing her accusations of everything, like that he needed help. But I guess I can kind of see that because, you know what I mean, like Two and a Half Men was a machine. Like that show was a total just train, and it was steam ahead, or whatever that term is. But like Denise saw a problem, like, and Denise knew there was a problem. And as much as she got dismissed, she also got like the brunt of it at home, just because there was a lot of aggression that grew in Charlie when he was on the pills. And not only would he be on the pills, like you would also see him like drinking and stuff on the show as well. And that's kind of how like the decline really started, and their relationship inevitably diminished at that point. Denise didn't really like go into like accusations so much of physical abuse or anything. Like she just kept saying like there's a lot that she went through, and I do believe it, and yet she's still protecting him. And there's just something about Charlie Sheen that just like, I don't know what it is, like people just want to fix him. Denise just like keep protecting him, like they still love him as a person, and they know that there's like a person underneath that, you know, wouldn't be doing these kind of things. But like I just I don't know. Like there's just something about him. On a personal reflection, like Denise and Charlie's daughters, one of his daughters, Lola, was interviewed on the show, and it just like, I don't know, it just made me so sad because she just says that she said, I wish my dad had been sober during, my childhood. And if I'm going to get personal with that, like I totally relate to that, just because my father too had struggled with alcohol addiction. And, I always wish I had like those memories of him too. Um, just like good memories. And it's sucks because it's like hard to look back on my childhood and like struggle to find those good memories or those good times, because like I feel like the bad ones outweighed the good ones, and you kind of just like get stuck in this like survival mechanism, of just making sure that you don't get hurt and you're okay for yourself, but then you're also worried about the parent. And it's a very just, it's a toxic circle, and it sucks. So I felt like super bad for her, in that part of her life growing up and not being able to really like rely on her dad because of his addiction. And then, after his relationship with Denise, he meets Brooke Mueller, which is another train wreck. Brooke is also an addict. They met right after him and Denise divorced. I think this is where Charlie started spiraling again. Like he'd already had a divorce, and then he's on his roller coaster again. So like now he's on his high again, and he meets Brooke. They get pregnant, and they have twin boys, Bob and Max. But right away, Bob and Max, the boys had like a heart condition, and I think this is where Charlie his resentment for Two and a Half Men like really like it was like escalating, because they didn't want to pause the show. Like they couldn't pause the show. Again, train is rolling full steam ahead. And he just developed a lot of resentment. He wanted to be with his kids. So he would be in the hospital and doing his lines. And then, as soon as he'd leave the hospital, he'd go to set. And then there came a night, like after being 9 years sober at that point, he just relapsed and it spiraled like crazy. And that is when he had the incident in Aspen. So him and Brooke went to Aspen. The kids were not with them. The kids were elsewhere, and they just went on this crazy drug bender. Police were called. Brooke made a statement against Charlie, but then she dropped the charges. It was just a mess. And then the rock bottom just kept piling on and piling on. So what happened though? Aside from the Aspen moment, twice in 4 months, his Mercedes drove off a cliff. What? What? His car. Yep, just mysteriously drove off a cliff. Whether he did that for funsies or I don't know, his car got stolen. Twice in 4 months though? How do you call the insurance company on that? Oh, hey, Flo from Progressive. Yep. Mercedes just went over a cliff again. Yep. Full coverage. Yeah, I know my rates are going to go up. That's nuts. That's crazy. But I guess if you're just filthy rich, whatever. And what's another Mercedes off a cliff? Sean Penn said at one point that he believed that Charlie had altered genetics because the amount of drugs and alcohol that this guy was consuming is just not that of a normal human. Charlie said it himself. He said he had tiger blood. He was, extraterrestrial DNA at one point in an interview. Kind of makes sense, maybe, I guess. But yeah, during all of this, all these drug induced rock bottoms, Denise actually took custody of Charlie's twins for a full year. Which I thought was really admirable. Denise, again, you're a saint. His drug dealer, or no, his drug counselor even asked his drug dealer at one point to make his crack less potent. I don't know what rehab manual that is in, but I guess it was worth a try. At first, when I heard this, I was like, I feel like that would just ramp up the addiction because wouldn't you think if you're not getting the same, I guess, high that you're used to, you would just do more of it. But I guess it just didn't work that way for Charlie. He just started doing less of it because it wasn't doing the same thing. So I guess it's kind of like reverse psychology almost in a sense. He just maybe thought that he was spending all this money and it just I don't know, stopped working for him because he built a tolerance to it. But it worked. It said it took him about a year and a half to dial down the dose. I thought it was pretty interesting also that how I don't know how candid the drug dealer was on the documentary. He's yeah, I got out of prison. I sell drugs for all of just Netflix and everything to see. I don't know how those rules work, statute of limitations, I don't know. But it's just they put drug dealer under his name. So I don't know, Netflix, you're funny. Netflix is funny. On a not funny note and more of illegal allegations, downward spiral, I guess you would say, there was so much. The Corey Haim allegations, there was the HIV lawsuit, multiple lawsuits, I think, or multiple, I don't know. He had to pay out a lot of people. I know his ex-fiance tried to sue Charlie saying that he had given her HIV, as well as other people started coming out too. I know that he had to pay out a lot of hush money. He said upwards in the millions of dollars. But when he did go through that segment too, he claims that allegedly everyone that had accused him actually never caught anything from Charlie. So I wasn't sure how accurate those facts were. Again, he was just very candid about the whole thing, but he was also really honest. When he said, when Denise noticed there was something wrong, it was more of not just a drug detox that was happening. And that's when he found out that he had HIV. And he said that he was relieved when he heard that diagnosis because he really thought it was the end of times and he was going to die, but that HIV was manageable. And so he was relieved that he had another chance at life, even though, despite being diagnosed with the disease. He claimed that, nobody had contracted this from him. What else was it? That he opened up also about his relationships with men, and that it seemed like Charlie felt like a big weight off his shoulder or something. He said he felt like liberated to admit like his past and like what his crack induced drug time of his life caused him to make certain decisions. And yeah, like I guess that was pretty brave of him to admit that. And you never know, like it's possible that the documentary is a great eye opener for some people maybe struggling with addiction, or he just seems like a guy that just like had a lot on his chest, and he just like let everything go. And I think it was probably like a good sober healing moment for him. If you watched it, there was a turning point, and he did point out that that turning point was his own daughter and feeling like he had let her down. I think it was Sam, because he didn't drink and drive, and he had drank that day and was too drunk to drive his daughter, so he had to call a driver. He just said he remembers like driving home with the driver and then being in the back seat with his daughter and how disappointed she looked. And that was basically like the big turning point for him to get sober, and good for him. Good for him. I'm glad like something, just like a moment, opened his eyes up, because despite like all the damage he had caused to all the people that he had loved, despite all that damage, they still just were rooting for him nonstop. And I think that's amazing. Some people need a second chance, and then some people need a like 14, 15, 17, 20th chance, like, so I thought it was pretty cool that that anybody still believed in him. And I'm sure he took that to heart too. Just to like wrap this section up, by the end of it, I'll admit, Charlie Sheen comes off pretty favorable. Again, Netflix has a great way of just swaying you in a certain direction. Under all the chaos, he said that he was worth saving. And I think that hits hard, and that hits really deep to a lot of people struggling with addiction or like coming out of that. And I think it was a good documentary. And I feel like Charlie Sheen comes off more like reflective than he has it than in his past interviews. And I think that's just because he has been sober for like 7 or 8 years now. It's almost just like, just an honest view of at least, I guess, what he can recall during his benders. You can see in his face, you can see both regret and humor. And that's just kind of how he's dealing with his past. And some people dwell on the past. And I feel like Charlie is coming to terms with his past and just being like, I can't fix it. I can't change it. But what I can do is control who I am today. And I think that a lot of people struggle with that. So I thought that was pretty great. There were some critics that feel not the same as I got from this documentary. They thought that Charlie was like way too candid and didn't take a lot of accountability for his past actions. I disagree. I feel like he was coming to terms with his past decisions, and I think he was accountable. Like, and he admitted, I can't believe I got away with this shit, Like, that's crazy. I mean, some family members, like his ex-wives and his children, they gave the perspective of their experience with Charlie, and it showed both like the harm and the healing that the tornado that is Charlie Sheen caused. And then others just declined to participate in the documentary, like Martin Sheen and his brother Emilio. So it's just like a lot of different perspectives to look at. That's the life of Charlie Sheen, I guess. I mean, twice in 4 months, his car went off a cliff. At one point, even like Wile E. Coyote was like, bro, chill, I think he should have just marketed an energy drink, to be honest with you, like Tiger Blood Energy, because I don't know. I would drink that. I could use some of that just getting ready in the morning. But that is Charlie Sheen for you. The documentary was I thought it was good. I thought it gave me, like, anxiety almost watching it for him, but I am one of those people who always roots for the underdog, so I think that's probably why. But yeah, great doc. I don't know how you guys felt about it. If there's anything that you caught that I didn't discuss that you wanted to discuss, drop it in the comments. Let's have a conversation. Let's shift like gears immensely and finish off our time today with a little discussion about what's going on in my life. All right, time for our mom moment on a very much lighter note. I am in the middle of throwing my son's birthday party. His birthday is actually at the end of the month, but just to accommodate everyone's schedules the best I could, we're doing it this weekend. So it's a little bit early, but that's okay. Yeah, he has not been feeling the best, of course, but it's okay. He's had like a runny nose. He's just been a tiny bit under the weather, but he's such a trooper. Like whenever he gets, like stuffy or like cold symptoms, he's always just such a good sport about it. And of course, when he's not feeling great is when his party is. But I feel like he's like on the tail end of it, so we should be good. And, why not throw a germ-filled bash when sniffles are, declining? It'll be fine. Everything will be fine. Um, Chaos though this week for sure. I feel like it's been like the busiest week ever. I'm trying to clean my house because we have everyone coming over tomorrow. If you could just see my little workplace table, it is completely full of everything. It's so chaotic, but that's okay. As soon as he wakes up, I'm gonna vacuum and we're gonna get this house super clean and it's gonna be like, oh my gosh, I wanna live here, like so clean. And hopefully it stays that way until tomorrow morning, which I'm sure it won't. I'm probably gonna end up vacuuming again tomorrow morning, but whatever. Well, let's see. What else is new? His walking. Oh my gosh. He is walking so much more now. And it's like every single day he's like discovering a new way to run away from me. It's funny because like when he crawls and like I'll be like, "Where did the baby go?" And then he hears it and he freezes and then he like puts on the nose and he goes really, really fast. And he's doing that now with his walking. So that's fun. He's just like, I don't know. He can't he can't like walk that great. So it's really funny when he tries to like run and then he'll fall and he'll just crawl away. I don't know. He's just like a goofy dude. Yeah. I turn around 1 second and he's halfway across the room or the yard or the store, wherever. It's like I feel like a combination of a security guard chasing someone who refuses to follow the rules or gravity. But yet his personality, I don't know. It's like every single day, he's so special. Like every like little giggle or like cheeky grin, you could just see like all the things just sprouting in his head and his brain, like all these like new opportunities and like new mischief he can get into. And he's so curious and stubborn and funny and he's so sweet. Like his newest thing is just like hugs. Like he just wants to give everyone hugs. Maybe that's why he got the sniffles in the first place, but whatever. He's just a sweet boy. I don't know. So while I'm frantically prepping for this party tomorrow with decorations and cake and food and party favors, totally forgot party favors. Not gonna happen at this point. Maybe it will. Maybe I have to go to the store. I don't know. I guess I don't really care that much. I don't know who I'm trying to impress here. I don't need to impress anybody here. It's a children's birthday party. It'll be fine. I bought like a banner and some streamers. It'll be okay. Everything's going to be great. He's got toys galore. A runny nose will be alleviated by tomorrow. And yeah, it'll be good. No sprinting toddlers or escapes tomorrow because he's going to have too many friends to play with. So I'm really excited about that. And, I'm just used to chaos as it is. And it'll be a fun story to tell him, when he's older about his first birthday party and how mommy and daddy scrambled to make everything the best that they could. And there were tacos, so that'll be fun. But let's be real. This party might be a little chaotic. It might be a little germy. But it's going to be just so him, I feel like. And I don't think I would have it any other way. It's a combination of Lilo, Stitch, dinosaurs, and construction trucks. Complete chaos. Nothing is on track, but that's just the way that we are. All right, friends. I think that's it for today. Between scuba heists, Charlie Sheen's wild ride, and my personal reminder that toddlers are tiny tornadoes that teach you patience, laughter, and the art of running in circles. Um, I think we've done it. I think we've done it for today. I have so much cleaning to do. So I'm just going to get to it before my little dude wakes up here in a little bit. As always, thank you for listening. Stay safe, keep your flippers handy, and remember, sometimes the chaos is exactly what makes life worth living. You can follow me on YouTube. Please like and subscribe at Mostly Accurate Podcast. I'm on Instagram at Mostly Accurate Podcast. Yeah, those are the major ones. You can find me on Spotify, Apple, Pocket Casts, Castbox, wherever you listen to your podcasts. That's where you'll find me. That's probably where you're listening to me right now. I don't need to tell you guys that. Anyway, let's get out of here. We got stuff to do. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I will see you next week. As always, I love you. Bye. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. The facts are fuzzy. Our stories and opinions are just that, stories and opinions, not meant to be taken as professional advice.